Sorry, guys. I know the music was probably just pretty loud. We had to turn Jerome Powell up. And so I got to change the music back to 0. My bad. It might have just blared. This should be better now. Let me know if the music is better now. Let me know if it's too loud. It might have just blared. Hold on, let me see. This should... Yeah, sorry. I'm fixing the music. All right, there we go. Let's get the music playing. Let me know if the music's still too loud. I can turn it down a little bit. We should be better now. Yeah, we're not crashing. I mean, the Nasdaq's down a lot in short term, but it's not really a crash yet. I mean, here's the Nasdaq. Here's an hourly chart. You know, the last few days, the last 10 days or so here, we've actually been upward trending. Even this drop right now is only this. So it's still, you know, we're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. We got jobless claims, unemployment filings today. Alright, so we got this up on screen. There we go. All right, the Nasdaq at 19,860. It is under 20K though, which is a pretty big level. Is the music too loud? Yeah, the market might be waiting for jobless claims, unemployment filings. It's possible. We'll put a timer up. We got an hour in. I had a dream about Jerome Powell. Very strange. Yeah, very strange. His tie was purple. I told you guys it'd be purple. You're welcome. Y'all don't like the song? Here. Oh, I don't know. He wasn't wearing a tie. Very weird dream, now that I think about it. No, Jerome Powell kept interest rates the same. He paused rates, which is pretty expected here. Yeah, I've been playing with Gemini. All right, guys. The SPY is at around 565. The nasdaq, Nvidia, that the nasdaq's currently at about 19,836. We got the Dow, which is currently at about 42,187. Nvidia at 116.60s. 66. All right, so what kind of stock news, tariff news that we get overnight? We got the Bank of England rate decision today. All right, guys, so the VIX is currently at 2040s. 2046. All right, guys. So this is the big news today. All right, so the SPY at 565s, the NASDAQ at 19,830s. It broke under 20,000. The Dow at 42,187. Nvidia under 117. Today we got jobless claims, unemployment filings scheduled for release at 8:30. The expected numbers run around 224 to 225. This data provides insight into the current health of labor market and influence the Federal Reserve policy. Yesterday we had the FOMC meeting. Jerome Powell's in a blackout period today. Yeah. Right? Actually, he might not be in a blackout period. It ends. Yeah, never mind. There's no blackout period today. It ends basically yesterday. All right, guys, so here's the Q. You get 477s. What caused this big drop in markets here? All Alright, so we're going to get our post on x.com. Yeah. We got the FOMC. Alright, yeah, we got a... Alright, so we got our x.com post. It's live. I'm reading the comments, guys. Give me a second. I got to get my stuff straight on the day. We're going to do a poll here. Does jobless claims come in higher or lower than the 225K expected? Higher, lower. Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. Market manipulation. V recovers in pre-market. It opens green. Jerome talked yesterday, not today, I think. Yeah, yesterday he spoke. Pawn sent me some stuff. Let's see what it is. Alright. SoftBank expands its AI footprint. 6.5 billion purchase of Ampere Computing. Sodexo shares plunge after profit warning. Mitsubishi Motors to outsource EV production to Foxconn, according to a report. Nvidia will spend hundreds of billions of dollars on US-made chips and electronic components over the next 4 years, CEO Jensen said in an interview with Financial Times. He said Nvidia will procure, quote, probably $500 billion worth of electronics in total over the span of that time, and the semiconductor titan sees itself manufacturing, quote, several hundred billion of here in the US. Yeah, I don't know if any of this stuff is going to cause the drops, though. Alright, so the European Commission is considering delaying the first set of counter tariffs against the US to mid-April. That's good. But why is the market down so much, man? I'm looking. Let's ask. No, Jerome's not speaking. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any news. Let me ask. All right, yeah, because the NASDAQ, look at these big drops. The NASDAQ, this all started right around 4 a.m. Right around 4 a.m. Eastern, which is strange. Right around 4 a.m. Eastern. Interest rate changes, tariff news, maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to see why. I don't see any big news, honestly. Early this morning, let's see. Bank of England delivered a 25 basis point cut. Is it the Bank of England rate decision? Is it Nvidia? Let me just take a look. So D.A. Davidson adjusted the price target on NVIDIA to 125 from 135 and maintains a neutral rating. We also had some articles that said the Mag 7 fall mirrors 2022 pattern, but it's comparable to 2018 caused by repricing of, quote, animal spirits. I don't know what that means. Jensen Huang sees humanoid robots in factories in less than 5 years. I think it's pretty good economics. Market chatter is that NVIDIA plans to spend hundreds of billions on US-made electronics over 4 years. We saw that one already. Benchmark reiterated a buy on NVIDIA, maintained a 190 price target. I think the Fed outlook has scared markets. Let's see. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell showed strength as market whisper on Wednesday, even though interest rates stayed the same. Stocks rose by most on a Fed decision day since last July. He avoided the president comments. The Fed also raised its inflation forecast and lowered its projections for growth. It's starting to sound a bit like stagflation or inflation without economic growth, which isn't good, of course, and it can be a recession precursor. Yeah, I don't really see too much right now. I see some stuff that's down. But yeah. Who's texting me? All right, let's take a look. Today is Thursday. We got jobless claims unemployment in less than an hour. We got the Philly Fed manufacturing index as well. We got jobless claims. Bank of England did their rate decision. Bank of England's rate decision is in 24 minutes. 24 minutes. Tesla price target cut to $450 a share from $500 by Piper Sandler. That's some news that's just dropping. Tesla down to 230s as well. Tesla recalling over 46,000 U.S. Cybertruck vehicles over detached panel hazard. A Tesla service to replace cant rail assembly, according to the NHTSA. So Tesla recall. That might be what this was. So if we look at Tesla here, Tesla is started its fall right around 405. You know, now most stocks are going to look like this though, but that might be why it was. Apple turning right around 405. You know, Amazon turning right around 405. Meta, same thing. All tech stocks are basically, so unless all tech stocks here are following Tesla, which I guess is possible, that's a weird pullback. Also, we had the Airbnb CEO offload another $5 million worth of shares. Retail investors are worried about it. So like anytime the market drops like this, you always get some different reason. One thing I know is that this isn't just a resistance level, right? People saying that this move is somehow technical. I get it. You might follow technicals, and I get it. Like I get it, right? Some of you might even said, "Oh, we pulled back here because of this level," and so you really want like to confirm that you were right. This is definitely, absolutely not a technical resistance level only. Like there's some bad fundamental news here for stocks. Probably the Tesla recall. If we look at when the Tesla recall came out, it showed up pretty early this morning. Downgrades for some tech stocks, and a Tesla recall showed up really early this morning. So that is probably what this is. NVIDIA falling down too. But yeah. Not sure why you think this has to be news related. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it's pretty probable it is. The biggest thing to show this is the steepness of the move. You know, like the market's hanging out here and then all of a sudden steeply drops. That's usually not technically driven. It could be, but it's usually not. My guess is it's a late reaction to the FOMC is possible, but who knows, man? Maybe it is. The reason I'm saying this is because anybody that understands, like, look how steep the SPY sell-off is right here, right? Like, you get these people, and again, I'm gonna preface this with, don't get mad. Maybe I'm wrong here, but you get these people that correlate everything with technicals, right? Like, you can have CPI show up, you know, 20% lower than expected, and the market rips up 20%, and they're saying it's because of the 9-12 EMA crossover strategy. Again, that's not the case. That's just not the case, especially here. This type of steep move, look at the SPY. This type of huge steep sell-off here, okay, is not technically driven. It's just not. All right. We could have the best support or resistance level in the world. This is absolutely not technically driven. And you don't want to correlate everything with technicals. Most of the time, moves like this are happening in pre-market when news is coming out about something. Tesla had a 46,000 Cybertruck recall. Tesla turned deep and steep here. What the heck is going on? I'm sorry, guys. It's supposed to be freaking... It's supposed to be instrumentals. I don't know why that guy started rapping just now. Point is, this is not a technical move here. Look how steep this is. Look how steep this is. Look at the volume increase down here. This is not a technical move. It's just not. Look at Apple. Like, this is all sympathy from the same freaking thing. Like, this is all sympathy from the same thing. Apple steep, Nvidia steep. I'm just trying to figure out what that thing is. No, this is all copyright free music. All the music I use here is copyright free. I don't use any music that's not. Could be insider selling. That's possible. Hey, what's up, Goose? Why do you think I was bullish yesterday, Fabio? I mean, in my day trading, I might have been bullish because we were in an upward trend most of the time that I was trading. I made money yesterday. I ended green. But I don't think I ever was like, hey, we bounced back today, you know. I might have laughed at the bears who told us that we would crash from the FOMC after we ripped up huge percentages. But that usually, honestly, I usually laugh at them every time because you get these guys that never pay attention to FOMC meetings show up during these, and then they make these wild predictions about market crashes. That usually means they don't watch these FOMC meetings too much, and it's like one of their first times, so they think something crazy is going to happen. But outside of that, I don't know if I ever said the market was going to go up yesterday or I was super bullish. I might have attacked long strategies day trading. But I was also really quiet and slow trading yesterday. I didn't trade super heavily. I traded really small. Tesla doesn't bring down the market. Tesla's like the number 5 or 6 most heavily weighted stock in finance. Tesla certainly could bring down the market. No, I never said the market would pump yesterday. You're just being contrarian. Again, here's what you should do. Okay, if you think I said that, find the clip it to me, send it to me. All right, if you think I said the market would pump yesterday, find the clip and send it to me. Prove me I'm wrong. Yeah, I never said that. Again, if anything, I probably said I have no freaking idea what the market's going to do. I'm not an investment professional. I know the probabilities of a market crash during FOMC are low, and during FOMC, we did not get a market crash. But I never said the market would pump. Again, people are so desperate to like want me to be wrong that they'll kind of slap all this different stuff on me. But again, bring receipts, or, you know, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, I said be careful yesterday. I said a lot of the time the market can be choppy ahead of the FOMC meeting, which it was, honestly. If we look at the Q yesterday, or the SPY, we'll put up the SPY. Look at the range yesterday leading up to the FOMC. Big upward move, big downward move, big upward move. We're like a straight rectangle yesterday leading into the FOMC meeting, which happened somewhere around here. And so pretty choppy leading into it. After the FOMC, I didn't make any predictions. I might have laughed at the people saying that we would get a market crash, because every single FOMC meeting we get all these like rookie traders that tell me that, and they're really forceful about it. They were trying to bet me that the market would crash yesterday. They were making fun of bulls. They were doing all this different stuff. And like in the end, they're almost always wrong. And so you got to kind of poke fun at them. But that's just kind of a hobby of mine, is making fun of bears. What you said was more like, not every meeting that market will crash. You're right, exactly. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate it. I'm a bear sometimes too. Honestly, I called this market correction. I got pretty flat ahead of this market correction. And anybody that watches the stream knows I did. Now, what the market does here, but at the same time, regardless of any of this stuff, right? This type of steep move and this type of steep decline is almost never, ever technical. It's almost never technical. You could have the best moving average crossover. You could have the best, technical pattern ever. It's not going to look like this. It's just not. That's not how technical moves work. Technical moves generally go like this. They stair step. They might make big moves down like this, but they're not going to be like one super steep decline. That's almost a straight down decline angle. That's just not a technical move. That's something happened in markets that freaked people out. It's either that or big money got involved and just started throwing money around. It could be a delayed reaction from some big money from the FOMC. That's possible. Either way, we're not crashing. This is the downward move in context of everything. And honestly, we haven't really even... Hold on, let me look. We're at 564s. Yeah. We're not even below yesterday or the day before's lows here. So... Can be uncertain in foreign markets with central bank decisions incoming. Yeah, again, here's the problem, right? I can certainly be wrong. And again, anybody that watches my stream understands that there are certainly times when I'm like, hey, I was definitely wrong about this. And so I absolutely can be wrong. Me telling people the market's not going to crash during FOMC meetings doesn't make me a narcissist. That's silly. And most likely he's just trying to poke buttons. It's all right. We're going to keep growing regardless of you trolling me. And so cheers to you, bro. Let it out. It's okay. Top 3 narcissists in the world right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know the, and again, just to preface this, like I say pretty regularly, you might be right. Maybe I'm wrong. Of course, I don't think I'm wrong. Nobody really thinks they're wrong. But it's not necessarily why the recall happened, but the fact that Tesla got a 46,000 vehicle recall at around 4 o'clock in the morning, which is right around when this dip started. Tesla's a really heavily weighted stock. That makes a lot of sense. It could also be due to, the military overseas. The Israeli military announced siren sounds in several areas following a projectile. News that came out late last night. There's a lot of reasons for this drop, but I don't think it's technical. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I just don't ever see big pullbacks like that in markets where it's a technical move. That just doesn't really make any sense. Dude, you need a saint's patience to do live streams and deal with people like that. Yeah, there was a guy I banned that was a pretty big YouTuber. He used to be a big YouTuber. He lost all of his viewers because I don't know why. And I think he kind of blamed it on all these other things. And I think he started watching my channel. And he's one of those guys where like everything's a technical pattern that he predicts. And I've actually said it to him before, but he got banned a couple weeks ago. I'm wondering if that's him. It might be. Because like everything's a technical pattern, But yeah. Again, everything's not a technical pattern though. And you don't want to get lost in that. Most of the time, if it's okay, at 4 a.m. market time like this, right? 4 a.m. market time. So for something to shake all the Mag 7 stocks at 4 a.m. in the morning, what's the likelihood that that's a technical pattern? How many traders are even awake at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? And all the major indices in the U.S., that just doesn't make logical sense, I think. And again, prove me wrong. I might be wrong here, but prove me wrong. I don't think this is technical. I don't think it makes sense that it's technical. I think there's probably some type of news that freaked people out overnight, but, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Yeah, the pump yesterday wasn't technical. Yeah, that's true. I think Euro central banks. Yeah, we have the European rate decision coming out in 8 minutes. And again, they're pretty expected to pause rates. They kind of mirror the U.S. a lot of the time. The current rate is at 4.5%. For the Bank of England, they're expected to keep it the same at 4.5%. So the stranger dynamic is that like people that dislike me watch my stream regularly, like waiting. That's a weird dynamic. It really is. It's a strange dynamic. I kind of feel for them because that means they just don't have anything else, going on in their life. But it's a weird dynamic. It really is. Yesterday was a false pump. Define a false pump though. Yesterday's pump was from the FOMC meeting. I agree. I think things are looking a little stagflation-y. Where I think we're looking like stagflation. I think we're looking like stagflation. I think we have somewhat high inflation, although the last CPI wasn't terrible. But I think PCE is big next week on Friday. Next week on Friday, we're going to stream the PCE report. I think that's incredibly important data right now in the landscape of everything going on with economic reports, weakness in economic data. I think PCE next week is big, and that's next Friday. We also have GDP on Thursday next week, too. That might give us an update. I would be very careful. Very careful. Hard to be humble when you look this good. I know, man. Listen, when I'm looking great. Remember I told you guys the people that were... I'm usually like the best looking person in finance is what I would say. Like I might as well lean into it is the way I look at it. As well as like, listen, narcissists are not people who brag all the time, right? Like the word narcissist is wildly overused. Like a narcissist doesn't have empathy for other people, right? Like a narcissist does not have empathy for other people, and so they're not going to feel bad for other people. They're not going to have empathy for other people. They're only going to care about themselves, you know? So people don't really understand that. Like, I can brag, and even if I'm not sarcastic half the time, which I absolutely am, right? Me bragging doesn't make me sarcastic. Me thinking I'm right about different things makes me stubborn, not sarcastic, right? So just get it right. If you're going to criticize, at least understand what you're saying, which I think a lot of people don't. I just trade extensions, not technicals. I think extensions are pretty good. I like using an extension. The only problem is that sometimes the market can keep breaking down, but I don't necessarily disagree with that. I like attacking extension here. Where's gold at? I think gold's breaking all-time highs too. Gold up to 3040s right now, 3040s. Nvidia back up a little bit as well. Again, something turned the market. It's too steep of a decline. Jim Cramer. Yeah, that's why I don't really hold any day trades. I don't, you know, some people that get stuck in day trades, and it depends on what kind of day trade though. But is the FOMC telling me? It is the FOMC telling there will be bad GDP, but employment will be okay. I know a real narcissist is a lot more than bragging about yourself. No, I know a couple too, to be honest. Usually usually what they do is, and I've said this before, like I test my kids for empathy, right? My daughter, like I've said this 1,000 times, my daughter cries, you know, if a butterfly hurts its wing, you know what I mean? She cries about everything, and I would rather her cry like that because that means she has empathy. My son has empathy as well. He has less empathy for sure, but he definitely has some. If I tell my son, hey, give me a hug, and he's like, at first he's like, no, I'm doing something, and then I walk away, he feels bad and doesn't want me to walk away without getting it. He doesn't want me to be sad. He's empathetic, and so he runs up and hugs me, and so boom, empathy. That's good. I'd rather my kids have empathy than not, but yeah, good kids, top 3 kids in the world right now. I don't know who the other kid is, but yeah, definitely top 3. Yeah, I guess empathetic would be caring about other people, not caring about, sympathy is feeling bad for somebody. Empathy is caring about somebody, so you're actually correct. I'd rather them have both, I guess, where they care about each other, but probably you're right, I'm wrong. Probably not the best example for empathy. Better example for empathy would be more so caring about the other person and how their day is, I guess, versus feeling sorry for them, which is sympathy. You know, you're right. I'm wrong. Yeah, so again, we're at 565s right now. Gold is up there. We got Nvidia at 117s. Yeah, I'm just interacting with the chat, guys. I'm doing my best here. I think they would both be sympathy, really. Butterfly hurting its wings is a sympathetic thing because it hurt its wing. You know. Yeah, empathy is caring about other people, feelings and thoughts. Thoughts on Mara? I think Mara is going to follow Bitcoin mostly. Bitcoin at 85.6s. 85.6s. NASDAQ at 19,860. It depends on why you're crying. Do you feel sorry or do you feel pain that someone else is going through? Yeah. If you feel pain, then it's empathy. And so I guess the butterfly would be empathetic. That's probably true. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin up to 85.6. Isn't there a Bitcoin conference today? People were telling me there's some type of high value, expensive Bitcoin conference that might move crypto. Is that right? Yeah, the ones that I know, ironically enough, the most narcissistic people go around calling other people narcissists. That's step one, right? If they're going around calling everybody narcissists, they'll also play like emotional games with people where you can't confide in them anything because they will use that stuff against you in a heartbeat, you know? As well as like they want to make you feel crazy is what they want to do. They want to make you feel crazy. And so they will do things intentionally to make you feel crazy because they kind of like doing it. And then if you kind of stonewall them and walk away, they'll either, there's a lot more to it, but it's actually not super common either, right? Like narcissism is not super common. People overuse it. But yeah. Europe leads the plan. So we have the ECB rate decision that just dropped. It came in at 4.5%. The vote came in 8-7. 8-7. Or let me see. Or no, the vote came in at 8 votes for a pause. 7 was what was expected. We ended up pausing rates at 4.5% for the European Central Bank. Or the Bank of England, I'm sorry. So yeah, the Bank of England rates left unchanged at 4.5% as expected in an 8-1. They expected a 7-2 vote. One of them voted for a 25 basis point rate cut and maintains guidance that a, quote, gradual and careful approach to removing policy restraints. Yeah, it's a crypto summit. Yeah, so there's the updates right there in chat. We still have over 25 minutes left until this stuff comes out for jobless claims. We'll see what we get. Hey, thank you, Sam. Appreciate it, brother. You all right? All right, guys, we got 30 minutes left, roughly 30 minutes left. Yeah, Carol just came in. What tariff news? All right, so again, Bank of England paused rates. They didn't really do anything crazy here. Honestly, my X.com page has been growing. One of my posts for NVIDIA got 20,000 hits. You'll love to see it. I would say it's definitely in the top 3 of X.com pages in the world right now. Go give me a follow at Beginner Trades. Do it now. Psychology is helpful, right? Honestly, it's interesting to talk about. If I talked about only stocks here, I think most people would leave. You know, it'd get kind of boring quick. All right, Bitcoin honestly got up to 87,500 this morning. The nasdaq up to 19.84. 19.84. Yeah, Bitcoin's trying to squeeze up. I don't know. Is $1,800 worth entering this crypto conference, though? That's what I wonder. Is it? Market isn't going to like the job numbers. I mean, you got to ask what the market wants here. Does the market fear inflation? If jobless claims come in much lower than expected, will that make the market pivot to inflation fearing? Is the real question. And I don't know. I think either one of them could happen. I think the market might also fear, obviously, a recession right now with stagflation alerts and stuff. Let me see if we can look up the tariff news that came out today. CBS says that the trade war could tank foreign tourism in the U.S., a report finds. Okay, so 16 hours ago, the president said no steel and aluminum tariff exemptions were coming. A 25% tariff on imports of steel and aluminum for all countries take effect on Wednesday, March 12th. Took effect on Wednesday, March 12th. On Sunday, he rebuffed the idea there would be exemptions to the metal duties. The EU has responded to those metal duties with counter tariffs on about $28 billion in U.S. goods from April, bringing the trade war across the Atlantic. President threatened targeted tariffs on the bloc of European countries, and he vowed to respond to those counter tariffs. Most notably, last Thursday, he threatened a 200% tariff on wine, champagnes, and alcohol. 25% tariff across the board on U.S. neighbors went into effect Tuesday, March 4th. USMCA has Washington's tariff relief under U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement has sparked a surge in the U.S. companies seeking exemptions. Industry experts report businesses rushing to qualify before April 2nd. The USMCA grants preferential treatment to goods either sourced from or having a minimal percentage of value added to any of these three countries. They said, quote, "We're seeking importers rush to become USMCA certified. The risk is just too high not to," said Brian Riley, Senior Vice President of Customs House Brokerage at logistics firm Geodis. President Lagarde, European Central Bank president, that is, said U.S. tariffs could shrink Eurozone growth and spike inflation. In the near term, EU retaliatory measures, this is quoting here, and a weaker euro exchange rate could lift inflation by around 0.5 percentage point. The effect would ease the medium term due to lower economic dampening and inflationary pressures, end quote. I don't really have a prediction on jobless claims. I have no freaking idea what they're going to show up as. I really don't. I genuinely have no idea what they're going to show up as. Yeah, but I mean, I'm definitely not right all the time. Especially not in day trading. You know, in day trading, I'm only right about 60% of the time. But 60% of the time, I'm right every freaking time. That's all I'm saying. NASDAQ is in a very choppy range here. I wonder if it's just waiting for jobless claims. You know, this kind of makes me think that jobless claims are even more heavily weighted for markets here. Let's put the big NQ up here. All right, so here's the NQ. See if my levels can work. Honestly, that 865 level still holding. Yeah, 224, 225 is what jobless claims are expected at today. See what Paul said. No. Let me, I want to pull up ChatGPT to be honest, but ChatGPT is just so laggy. Hit me with all the tariff news. And let me see. ChatGPT is actually pretty accurate. Why did the market drop quickly at 4 a.m.? Let's see what it says. Yeah, they basically said it's a reevaluation of the Fed decision. Implication of the Fed's updated economic outlook, which included reduced growth forecasts and heightened inflation expectations, partly due to ongoing trade tensions and tariff policies. Do y'all agree or disagree with ChatGPT? $1,800 a ticket, that's steep, bro. Even if I have the money, that's a lot. I've seen drops like that at 4 a.m. But that's a steep drop. Look, I look at the market every day, and maybe I'm wrong. It just doesn't seem like technical. It seems fundamental in nature. Now, maybe the fundamental catalyst is it reacting late to the FOMC decision yesterday. That's possible too. But yeah. Hey, John. Hi, John. Are we still good numbers is bad, or are we back to normal? I don't know, man. I think we're in a weird, sticky spot. What he means by that is, does economic growth mean the market goes up from economic reports? I don't really know. It's a little bit weirder of a dynamic recently. The market both fears recessions and inflations right now, especially after yesterday's Fed meeting. And so, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so the European Commission is considering delaying the first set of counter tariffs against the U.S. to mid-April. Most people think it's fear and inflation worries. If inflation's the worry, we could have something with higher jobless claims makes the market panic today. It's possible for sure. It doesn't mean it's probable. It doesn't mean it's what we're going to get, but it could happen. Yeah, I'm looking at the VIX. I'm sure the VIX spiked up a little bit overnight. Yeah. VIX is still over 20, though. Hard data, good soft data is terrible. Yeah, maybe. I follow EU news. EU has trouble selling bonds for defense. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's possible. Can't still be the idea of a recession. I mean, it could be. It depends, man. Like, we had some of the Fed Now GDP forecasts that showed up. They actually showed up better than expected. They originally expected 2.1% decline in GDP for the first quarter of 2025, right? That kind of scared a lot of people. The actual Fed Now GDP report showed up better than expected, though. It showed up at like 1.8% a couple days ago. And so it's still looking negative for this quarter in GDP, but it's better than it was. But a negative quarter is a negative quarter, right? And if we get 2 consecutive negative quarters, we enter a recession. And so I don't think any of it's necessarily good. And I think that fear and is definitely there. I'm a little bit more weighted towards recession fears playing a bigger factor, though. I think stagflation is a precursor to a recession anyway, and so we're going to get some stagflation regardless of anything, but I don't know if that makes inflation the bigger worry. And what do you guys think? Let me know right now. Do you guys think the market fears a recession more or inflation more? Just put recession in chat, put inflation in chat. I think either of them things could be true. Either of those things could be true. I mean, I would tend to think they fear right now a recession more than inflation, but I think it could certainly go either way, and I might be wrong. I'm curious to see. Let me do a poll here. So we did a poll asking people, does jobless claims come in higher or lower? 64% think higher, 36% think lower. I mean, I know they fear both. What do they fear more is what I'm asking. I know they fear both. I typically agree they fear both, right? I think both is a justifiable fear right now. Economic weakness, because we're seeing that in data, as well as inflation risks, because we see that in data to a certain extent. We see less inflation risks in the data yet, but it might come through in the next couple months. But which one do they fear more right now? Yeah, but he doesn't want the market to tank, though, Ryan, is probably what it is. Powell's not going to say he fears a recession, especially not when GDP's at 2.3% and you know, it's looking strong. Again, maybe we're headed towards one, but it really is, it depends. We need a consecutive losing quarter. Right, that's kind of my stance, too. I think recession's probably the bigger fear, and so in that regard, lower jobless claims. But the thing about jobless claims is that you never freaking know. Like, you don't know what kind of data, you don't know what kind of reaction we're going to get from this report. You really don't. Like, you don't know if we're going to get good action, bad action, green, red, any of that stuff. You really don't know what we're going to get. And so it's one of those things where betting on this data, like, I certainly wouldn't see jobless claims numbers show up lower than expected and just kind of mindlessly buy. I don't think that's a good idea at all. Or vice versa, you know, depending on what you think the fear is. I think the reaction that we're going to get from this is super variance heavy. Super variance heavy. I think saying both is cheating, guys. Stop cheating, you know. How dare you, all right? Which one do they fear more? If I say, hey, which one do you like better, steak or eggs? And you say both, it doesn't count. You know, you got to pick one. The more is the key word here. Which one do they fear more? I think they fear both. I think we can power through some elevated inflation as long as stocks hit earnings. Yeah, for sure. I think, I don't know. I'm kind of the opposite. I honestly fear inflation more, and maybe this is wrong, but I fear price increases much more than recessions. Recessions, actually, we get some decreases to inflation if they're strong enough recessions. But I don't actually work for anybody. And so I'm biased, you know. I'd much rather not see extensive inflation. But I think we're going to get inflation regardless. Powell refused to answer. Yeah, he's not going to. Inflation is transitory. I guess so. They did say that. You know, they said that. But I think inflation, I fear inflation much more. Hey, thank you, Melody. I appreciate it. Okay, let me end this poll, and we're going to do another poll. And we're going to ask the same thing. We got over 10 minutes left still. Over 10 minutes left. We got almost 1,000 people watching. All right, does the market fear inflation or a recession more in the current landscape? I'll make you guys pick one. There's no both option. I'm not even going to give that to you. All right, so I'm looking at this 850 level in the NASDAQ here. We'll see if we get into some good trades. We've had 4 or 5 green days in a row? Let me see. Okay. Have to look. We have had 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days in a row. In the last 3 weeks, we have had, on this account, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green days, 2 red. So, the last 4 weeks, we've had 3 green weeks, 1 red. All right, looking at the poll, 60% fear inflation, or fear recession more. We got almost 100 votes quickly, 40% fear inflation. I guess I'm in that 40%, and maybe I'm wrong here. I don't freaking know. Yeah, I tend to think the market probably fears recessions more because of the economic data. I don't think the recent inflation data shows super high risks. I know they adjusted their inflation expectation, which is what kind of spiked a lot of the stuff, but yeah. Kudos, John. You're one of the few people who speak to the important data points. Most other streamers talk about their cars. Do they really? Their cars? That's why it's wild when people say I'm a narcissist, because, like, I don't know how many times I'm like, hey, maybe I'm wrong here, or you could be right, or I don't know. You know, those are like my keywords here on this channel. Also, I'm kind of a private person. Like, I've got some really cool cars. I live in a really nice house, but I'm not going to flash that to the internet. That doesn't make any sense to me, you know? I'd much rather not have people looking into my, you know, house and knowing where I live and knowing what kind of cars I drive and all that stuff. I'd rather not. Being on the internet stressful enough here, versus trying to look cool, adding that pressure. I got some cool cars, though. I think my car could probably beat y'all's cars. You know, definitely top 3 cars in the world right now, is all I'm saying. Yeah, that's probably true. Due to tariffs causing recession from high inflation. Yeah, maybe. I think that's kind of a cheating answer, though. Inflation costs always get passed on to the consumer. That's true. That's why people are worried about the tariffs. All right, guys, so the NASDAQ correcting back down here. I like this 810 level, but we're a little too close to jobless claims. Maybe we'll attack it after jobless claims here. Lambo John? Oh. No. Is this jobless report bigger than Powell? No. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes left. Looking at our votes, 60% still fear recession more. I don't have a plaid. All right. We got gold. Toy car? Yeah, Hot Wheels. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, we got some Hot Wheels. Oh, y'all are trying to guess my car? I wouldn't tell you even if you guessed it right. All right, guys, 6 minutes. Jobless claims, unemployment data coming out. The ECB's not says they've almost mastered the inflation problem, almost at the level of neutral interest rates. So we'll put that up on screen. It might be good for inflation. but Target files to sell a 10-year notes. All right, guys. Hey, we got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. It's a V8 twin turbo. Is what it is. That's all I'm giving you. All right, guys, 4 minutes. Jobless claims expected at 225,000. We'll see what that report shows. All right, guys, we got 3.5 minutes left. The NASDAQ has still followed its way down here. We got NVIDIA testing off that previous closing price. Gold up to 3040s. We got the SPY at 564.30s here. So let's get ready. Again, we're pretty flat right now. Y'all are still trying to guess my car. Again, I wouldn't tell you guys even if you were right, to be honest. All right, we have 3 minutes, chat. 3 minutes before jobless claims unemployment. We'll see what we get. Yeah, quad witching is tomorrow. It's technically triple witching day, but yeah, triple witching day is tomorrow. I wish it was a Toyota Supra with a parachute. That's cool. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. It's not a Subi. I used to love WRXs, but at this point an EV will smoke a WRX, so there's no point in getting a WRX. Now we got 2 minutes, chat. 2 minutes. Triple witching. So quad witching is a day of historical volatility in which all 4 major contract types would expire the same day. This includes stock options, index options, stock futures, and index futures. At this point in time, there's no such thing as stock futures, single stock futures. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist anymore. But we still have triple witching tomorrow. Again, a day of historical volatility in which we have stock index, or we have stock options, index options, so like Apple options, the S&P options, and then index futures like the S&P, the NASDAQ futures expire tomorrow, like the NQ. So all 3 major contract types expire tomorrow. We got 1 minute before we got jobless claims, unemployment filings going live here, chat. 1 minute. We'll see what we get. All right, chat. Here we go. We got 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Jobless claims expected at 224. We'll see what they show up as. 224 jobless claims numbers. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the report right now. We also have Philly Fed index coming out. All right, so here's the release. Canadian inflation numbers. All right, so jobless claims ended up showing at 223, basically flat as expected at 223 versus 224, 225 expected. Philly Fed manufacturing index was actually much stronger than expected. So we had the Philly Fed index show up much stronger than expected at 12.5 versus 8.8 expected. We had jobless claims essentially flat today at 223s versus 224s expected. And honestly, the market's not really moving much on this report here. So the market's not really moving much on this report. Showed up basically as expected today. 223 versus 224 expected. We got jobless claims show up, continuing claims show up a little bit higher than expected. But a lot of this was flat. I'll put this up on screen just so you guys can see it. Canadian inflation data came out too. And we also have existing home sales releasing. So it's pretty good news. I would say it's not as bad as it could be. I would say it's not as bad as it could be. But again, basically flat jobless claims numbers. Again, 223, lower than expected by a couple thousand. But we had the U.S. current account show up at minus 303.9 billion versus minus 325.5 billion expected. So a little bit better than expected there too. A little bit less negative than expected. The NASDAQ is pushing up right now in this data release here. So the NASDAQ is popping some. Yeah, so this is good. This is good, honestly. Let's see if we hit this 810 level and reject right now. When is QE coming, Healing Pain? Genuinely. They might end QT. Basically what they said yesterday was that they were going to slow QT down. A lot of people thought they would straight up end it, which is a more dovish action, of course. But they are basically... A lot of people thought they would end QT. They only ended up slowing it. The $25 billion cap on treasuries was decreased to $5 billion. So they decreased the cap 80%. Yeah, so they decreased the cap 80%, which is obviously a more dovish action than doing nothing, but it's certainly not as dovish as ending QT completely. They kept the QT on MBSs, which is mortgage-backed securities, and the reason they did this is to keep interest rates high, right? So like if they would straight up end the QT on MBSs, that's a much more dovish thing for interest rates. That means that interest rates, mortgages specifically, might decrease by them still keeping pressure and reduction of their balance sheet for MBSs. This ultimately can push interest rates to stay high in longer term mortgages, right? Like, I hope that makes sense. So, yeah. So for mortgages, that's what this is. So, we can roll back. So if the Fed is consistently and persistently reducing its MBS holdings, it puts increased pressure on mortgage rates to rise for a few different reasons. When the Fed buys MBSs, it increases the demand, driving up the price and lowering their yield, which influences mortgage rates, right? If they reduce their MBS holdings by doing QT on them, it decreases demand, lowers prices of bonds, which increases the yield. The increase in yields tends to translate to higher mortgage rates, because yields and interest rates follow each other. So I hope all that makes sense. Basically, it's worse for interest rates. And again, I kind of agree with this. Like, look, the Fed's very balanced. They are going to be as balanced as they can for stuff like that. Yeah, so again, we'll see if we get some volatility. We'll start day trading here today. Let's try trading some here. It's a little early for me to start trading, but I don't mind it here, so let's do it. We got some levels to watch here in micros. Wish me luck today, guys. We've had 5 green days in a row on this account. We're going to see if we can keep that up, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. We are day trading on Top Step's funded account program right now. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on that 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K with a 90% split. And they pay out millions, fund thousands every year, pay out millions in actual withdrawals. They paid out almost 200 million since 2020. They fund thousands of traders. And it's the best of both worlds. It's limited risk. If you fail, you're out $49 for the base one a month. That's not the end of the world. You can then try again if you want. They give you a practice account if you want. And so there's value there. If you were going to pay for a demo account in futures with real-time data, it might cost around $49 outside of Top Step anyway. But the value is there. So if you make 3K in profit without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K, 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K in profit, which is similar to funding your own account. But if you fail, you lose $50. It's not the end of the world. And then when you add to that, if you use their native platform, TopStepX, 0 commission on TopStepX. A powerful thing, a very useful thing. And so again, if you want to check it out, I'll put this link up. A great way to help support the channel. They are an affiliate of mine. I am biased. I get paid by them. Top 3 most biased person of all time ever in the world. But there's the link if you want to check it out. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Yeah. Yeah, the 200 exponential is right here at 875, so I'm looking at that. We also have like a quadruple top right around this 865 level, right around here. And so I'm looking at this. We definitely have a little bit of an upward trend here, so we've kind of retraced half of the drop we made overnight. Does my audio keep cutting out? Does it really? All right, look at this rejection here. I'm going to short this. Very small. We've rejected this level again. I think it makes sense. We'll see if we can add to it here. We're green so far. See if we can add to this now. There we go. There we go. I'm not going to add any more to this though. We'll leave it here. There we go. We'll take some off if we get some good. Yeah, there we go. A little bit more. We'll take half off there. Lock it in. We profit the same anyway, but there we go. All right, we're out. Scalping a little gain here. We caught the breakdown. I need to use some larger size here, so I might jump right back in on this retracement right here. We got 2 contracts now. We got a cushion. We'll add up to 4. There we go. 4 contracts now. I'm trying to get used to larger size here, chat, so that's kind of what you see me doing right now. We got that 850 resistance above us here, so I want to play into that, but where's my coffee? There it is. I don't know if I like this as much now. We're gonna have to cut it. cut that too. So we're kind of chopping back and forth. We're pretty much flat on the day. But at this point in time, we've gone like this. And so I don't really trust anything so far. Unless I'm going to short the top, which I think is risky too. Audio's good. All right, cool. All right, so we had the jobs report release. We got pre-market news here. See if we got anything else that showed up today. Tesla plans to introduce long-awaited battery innovation in Cybertrucks, according to the information. Let's get AI here. I don't think we have any other big data. We got existing home sales at 10, but not a huge report. Hey. I don't know. No. Check the room. Hey. Check in the closet. When you first walk into the closet on the right side where all the cabinets are and stuff. I don't think so. I think that's the one I used. All right, guys. Yeah, where's gold at? Gold at 3050s. 3050s. See, we're pushing it down here. See, we're so flat right now. I still want to short this. But not now on this retracement back up. I'm using this 850 level. If we pop above it, I don't really want to mess with that. Gold's at all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, all-time highs on gold are currently at 3065s. It did break all-time highs yesterday. Ah, see, my short here would have worked. I'll try jumping back in. I'll try adding to a winner here if we get it. A little risky here, but look at this candle. Take that off. It's so choppy right now, though, man. I'm hoping we drop more, but there we go. All right, so we made a little bit. We're just kind of scalping very small movements here, to be honest. We're going to take two contracts here. See if we retrace quickly. Back down. There we go. Half off. Ah, we didn't get a good fill on that. We'll leave two here and then hold the rest break even. Risk-free trade, but close enough to risk-free. Flush. There we go. Took half off. I'm gonna go to get out here. It's just too close to being choppy right now. We're at the bottom of the range. I don't want to see it bounce back up here. And there we go. There's the bounce back. So I was able to cut it. Just kind of some break-even trades right now. The NASDAQ is so flat and boring. Looking like a bear day. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not looking green. Yeah, tomorrow quad witching. I don't know, man. Sometimes it's quad witch, triple witching day, and we just get boring price action. So, I wouldn't really hold my breath trying to get some crazy good volatility or anything like that from yesterday. I just don't think we need it, you know. What do you mean in the poll by inflation fear because of tariffs, you mean? What I mean is that, generally speaking, those are two different sides of the economy, right? So to understand economics, like one side of the fearing index in economics is recession fears. Like basically too little people working and spending. That's one side. The other side is inflation, you know, and we generally get inflation from a strong economy. If the economy is strong, prices tend to go up because people are spending so much in a strong economy that it you know, boosts prices is the logic behind it. And so those are two different sides of the economy: inflation fears, recession fears. Now sometimes we get both, and it's called stagflation, but it's an isolated thing in markets. And so if the market fears inflation more, like an example of this is in 2022, after the deep economic stimulus that we got in 2020. In 2022, we had a market that feared inflation because inflation had spiked up to 10% following the economic stimulus that we got in 2020 and the stimulus checks and the quantitative easing and the money printing and supply chain restraints and all these different things. And so inflation was spiking and the market feared inflation. Because of that inflation fear, it actually created a situation in which economic strength made the market react negatively through economic data, right? So we would get lower jobless claims, which means a stronger economy. It means less people unemployed, less people filing for unemployment week to week, more people spending and working, and the market would go down on that report, right? And we would get the unemployment rate. Or payrolls is probably the easiest example. We'd get payrolls that showed up really, really high, higher than expected, higher than last time, which shows economic growth, right? Through high payrolls, and the market would react negatively from it, not positively. And so that's the context in the poll today is, what does the market fear? And the market might fear both. What does the market fear more is the question. And, you know, really the jobless claims came out pretty close to flat. So quad witching is only overhyped until it starts trading like it did before 2020. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, we're a little red today, but all right, guys. So we got gold at 3050s. We got the NASDAQ still sitting weak. If we get down to 810s, I might buy a quick little bounce here, but I don't know. We might also have a level right here. I guess we could right there, but it's a retest of it after recent price action, so I'm just gonna wait. If we break down to 810, I might buy a dip up to 825s and then cut, is what I'm looking at right now. We'll see if we get it. We need a little bit stronger breakdown to catch it, so we'll wait for it. Great explanation. And what do you think they fear more? I think right now they fear recession more. The inflation data hasn't really shown anything super crazy, although we did have updated inflation expectations that were a little bit worse than expected. But I would say based off of everything, the Fed GDP now coming in negative and for this quarter, and a lot of people worried that we're going to have a negative quarter right now in the like context of this current quarter. I think they fear recession more, but I think it varies, and I think they fear both right now, of course, but I think they fear a recession more. So. It means you get max to hit the so you get to, they give you a 50K demo, Jose. If you can make 3K in profit without losing 2K first, following their rules, they fund you. You get 5 mini contracts. You can use more micros, I'm pretty sure, but you get 5 mini contracts. You can use more micros. Like I have 50K funded account. I take 4, 5, 6 micros at a time. But they're talking about mini contracts is what they're talking about. Which is plenty. Like 5 mini contracts, you can lose $1,000 in 15 seconds with 5 mini contracts. So I don't think you need more than that. People might complain, but you don't really need more than that. Like 5 mini contracts is a lot of size. A lot of size. Yeah, I'm still looking at 810s. The turtle traders, yeah. Yeah, I've heard about that story. It's a pretty famous market story. About the turtle traders. I'm still gonna have AI summarize it. Basically, a guy went out and hired, I can't remember how many traders. Yeah, so it's a famous trading experiment designed to settle a debate between 2 legendary commodity traders, Richard Dennis and William Eckhart, in the early 1980s. Richard believed that successful trading could be taught through a set of rules. William Eckhart argued that trading success was an innate talent. To resolve their disagreement, Dennis decided to recruit and train a group of novice traders. He placed advertisements, and those selected underwent a brief training period. Dennis provided the trainees, nicknamed the Turtles, with his trading rules and his own capital. The Turtles were taught a specific trend-following system, which included identifying and capitalizing on market trends using strict rules for entries, exits, and risk management, aggressive pyramiding of winning positions. The Turtles' experience was considered a significant success, with the trainees collectively generating substantial profits. It provided evidence supporting Dennis's belief. Total trader stories become profitable as an example of systematic rule-based approach. But yeah, it's a form of behaviorism. But yeah, basically you can teach it. I mean, obviously everybody knows you can learn how to be a trader. It's not something you're just born with. That's silly. I think there's certain personality types that's better than others. right? I think there's personality types that's better than others for trading, but I think you can obviously teach trading. If not, you know. All right, look at gold. Gold's starting to turn a little bit. Nasdaq's still pretty flat after bouncing after big red action. So we got gold. I mean, I don't know. I think gold might break all-time highs today. Let me see. Gold at 30.50s. I don't know, man. Gold, it depends on if gold follows the market. Gold usually moves in a macro view with markets. Too many combines with minis. Yeah, there's a reason I trade micros over everything else. Market is in for a lot of sideways action. Transitory word. Yeah, they use that transitory word a lot, for sure. All right, so yeah, we're still looking at 810s, but we did bounce right at 825s, kind of like we thought. Gold might move down a little bit because of the Swiss and Europe bank moves. All right, we're at 840s here. 840s. Let's see if we can break down under 825. So, man, we got to break down. Yeah, see, there's the breakdown. We're kind of in no man's land, though. I'm not really interested in attacking this move. Can you explain micros and minis in more detail? Yeah, so in futures, trading index futures, right? So like the S&P futures, the NASDAQ futures, the NQ, the ES is the S&P futures, the NQ is the NASDAQ futures. You can either trade what's called a mini contract, which is the E-mini S&P 500. It's the S&P 500 futures contract, or the NASDAQ E-mini. Now, the NASDAQ E-mini has a $5 per tick range. So every tick up or down, it's kind of like cents per share in stocks. The NASDAQ moves $5 per tick, but the range of the NASDAQ is huge, right? So $5 per tick up and down, the NASDAQ can move hundreds or thousands of ticks regularly, you know, a pretty normal day for the NASDAQ. The regular mini, moves $10 per tick. Or no, I think the mini actually is $12.50 per tick, right? Now that's the mini contract, so it's much larger size. The micro contract is 10x smaller. And so the micro contract, if you're trading the S&P E-mini, the ES, it's called the MES. It moves $1.25 per tick, which is 10x smaller than $12.50 per tick, right? So it's much smaller size, trading micros. And again, 10 micros equal 1 mini. And so with the NASDAQ, it moves 50 cents per tick. 50 cents per tick is still a lot. You can make $20, $30, $40 in 10, 15 minutes with one micro contract. If you take 2 or 3 or 4, it gets even more. And so it's just smaller size with micro contracts. What's the most important thing when it comes to day trading? Avoid big drawdowns, accept losses, and walk away. Absolutely the most important thing. All right, so here's the breakdown we talked about right now, guys. So we're going to take 3 contracts if we bounce after under 810. We got to get down there, though. That's a big retracement. I'm not really loving that. It does look weak here. Doesn't mean it's going to continue, though. I do want to short this, but I think I'll wait. Yeah, I should have shorted it. All right, we're going to start to add to our position down here. That's 1. We'll take 2. Take 3. See, I need a larger size here. There's 5 contracts. See, we bounced a little bit off of it, but I don't think it's enough here. I'm going to have to reduce my size. Right here. We'll take some off. See, there's the bounce that we got. I knew my size was a little bit too large. We'll cut it. We got this bounce, but it happened quick up to 17. So a 7 or 8 tick bounce. Might still bounce, but we got to cut that one. Yeah, you're... Good day to you, kid. I mean, listen, if you just sit around waiting to kind of poke at me when I lose, of course you're going to get banned, dude. We're on 5-day green streak. I'm sure you're not talking about that, kid. Come on now. Don't be so bitter, brother. Like, it's okay, man. More jobless claims. So we had 224,000 come out. 224. Yeah, no, so that's what it is. Micro contracts are essentially just smaller size. See, we're ended up bouncing right here. I liked 810, but volatility really until the Fed cuts rates. I don't know, man. We got a lot of stuff come out. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate it. We got a lot of stuff come out between now. The Fed's not going to cut rates until probably, I don't know. The last time I looked, it was July. For the next meeting, here's the results. I haven't even looked at it for the next meeting. So the next meeting, unless we get some really weak economic data, we're still probably going to pause next meeting. So next meeting, it's 83 to 17. So 83 to 17. So that's what we got now. 83% chance of a pause in, this is May. 17% chance of a cut is what we're looking like. And so we're probably going to pause. The only way these percentages might change is if we get like really weak economic data come out. That's much weaker than expected, that we end up, coming in a little bit weaker. And if we get like GDP coming in weaker, if we get payroll show up weaker, then, these percentages might change more weighted towards a cut. Again, you got to think about it like this, right? The only way the Fed is going to want to cut rates is if we have economic weakness to justify it. They're not going to bring interest rates down. Cut your losses when you're wrong, absolutely. And so again, you can kind of see on this last trade, we lost like $25, very small. We recognize that we were wrong from this 810 bounce and cut it almost immediately. And so you just got to cut your losses when you're wrong. What happens to most day traders is that they end up losing and having a losing day. And instead of accepting that losing day, they end up doubling or tripling their size and then losing more and then getting more frustrated and increasing size even more until they basically just destroy their whole account, right? Like that's what ends up happening to most day traders when they destroy their accounts. And so it's a really important skill that you have to kind of condition through repetition is just to be okay with losing, you know. Jerome is afraid of inflation. Yeah, he's definitely afraid. He should be afraid of it. But at the same time, though, he is slow in QT, which is an optimistic sign. So yeah, I guess we had these two levels here. I had 810 and 790. It looks like 790 held better. $800 away from losing my account. Can you save? Dude, I can't save anybody. Top 3 worst day trader of all time here. So I don't even know what I'm talking about, guys. Tesla? I still think Tesla is one of the reasons the market turned this morning. See, Tesla started to turn at about 3 a.m. The whole market started to turn at about 4:30. So maybe some of it's from Tesla. Yeah, if you're about to lose your account, you're probably trading a little bit too large. Trade small. I agree with that. Add to winners, not losers, too. Wait till you win. Wait till you're up in a trade and then add to it. And then hold it break even. Once you add to it is a good way to do it, too. That's what something that I'll do a lot is I'll wait for a winning trade. I'll add to it then. And then if it turns on me, we'll cut it. The micro NASDAQ wins too small? Bro, if you take 5 micro NASDAQ positions, it's still going to be half of a regular mini contract, and it can move very quickly for or against you. So I don't know if I agree with that, but it's subjective, so it's all good. And again, I'm on a 5-day green streak. I don't really want to lose it today, but I'm not going to risk too much. Like, look, here's my green streak. We're still red today, but here's my green streak right now. We barely had a green day last week, but be the best loser you can be. Yeah, I guess. Most day traders are going to lose, so you got to just trade small and wait. 20 trades. Well, I usually go a little bit larger than 20. The only thing about the NASDAQ right now is we are kind of testing around lows. And so my bias is short here. But I might wait until the opening bell so we get some more volatility, because I think I'm just getting stuck in like a low liquid market. How do you lose $700 in one trade? Especially if you have to, if you're $800 away from losing your account. You're doing exactly what I said, which is that you're losing big, getting frustrated, doubling, tripling size, losing again, getting more frustrated until your account can be gone. You know, just be smart, man. All right, so we did bounce at 790. Still testing 810s though. No, I don't copy me. I'm not an investment professional. Yeah, definitely not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Don't copy me. All right, guys. So we are breaking down here. I don't know if I want to buy 790s. That 810 level did hold as resistance. But I think I'm short biased. We're getting a little too close to these lows on the NASDAQ. So if we start to flush, we really start to flush. All right, guys, we are at 19.8 here. Look at the SPY pop. SPY just popped up a couple points here. Let's see if the rest of the market follows it. Let me look at Apple. Apple's still testing lows. Tesla's still down at 232.50s. Google down after a big green day yesterday. Here. What is in the Amazon news competing with NVIDIA chips? Let me see if I can find anything on that. Apple is losing more than $1 billion a year on Apple TV, according to the information. Apple TV is the only unprofitable Apple subscription service and had around 45 million subscribers last year. I wonder if it's because they're paying so much for the studio stuff here. If they're paying so much for the studio stuff, that could explain it. All right, guys, we got 18 minutes left until the open. I'm assuming you mean mini, Sam. Yeah, I'm assuming you mean minis. For me, it's easier to manage trades with micros. Right, 100%. You could take 2 or 3 micros if you really need to. You could take 1 micro, wait until you get $30, $40, $50 in profit, and then add to it. Take 2 or 3, take larger risks, make a couple $100. Like, that's the way, I think. People that have to trade minis and they don't want to trade anything else, and they take this crazy big size. There's just no reason to trade like that. It makes no sense to be honest. It really doesn't. It makes no sense to. It's just too much risk. Everybody's different, though. One to 3 contracts on gold. Easily hit my daily $200 target. Yeah, but aren't you $700 away from losing your account? Didn't you say that a couple seconds ago or a couple minutes ago? And so apparently that's not working for you, brother. I mean, do what you want to do. I'm not an investment professional. I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. But, yeah, Amazon's taking over the world. I mean, Amazon is too convenient for people not to have, in all honesty. Right, so I do like Amazon as a company, but I think there's also risks short term because of corrections and stuff that we're experiencing. We're kind of at the bottom of a correction, not a bottom, but we're very close to the lows of the last couple months for most tech stocks in the Mag 7. So we're very close to lows. So I would just be very careful. Yeah, if you're trading a 50K, that's way too big of size. Data bad or good? Data was flat. It was as expected. It was slightly lower, which signals a little bit more economic growth than expected, but it's nothing like crazy or major. I would say market fears inflation more than a recession. Yeah, no, I mean, I fear inflation more than a recession for sure. I would rather us enter a recession than have bad inflation problems. So here's 825 holding. I'm gonna try shorting a bounce here. If not, we might get rid of this 810 level. See if we flush down. I'm gonna take size off here, protect it. Kind of a flat trade now. $14 minutes until the market opens. Yeah, you can kind of see how small size this is. Like, I'm not worried. If I lose here, it's $20, and we could always like reassess. It's taking a little too long though. I'm gonna take half off here and just wait. Basically a flat trade, and then I can add to it if I'm correct. That way there's less risk. Yeah, we got the opening bell in about 10 minutes anyway, so maybe I can fight back some of these losses at the open, but I'm not really loving this 810 level. It's not really holding like I want it to, so I'm gonna remove it. Probably gonna get rid of this one too. Keep it a little bit cleaner. 824 seems to hold really well though, but yeah, I mean, I'm just not a good trader in pre-market usually, so I don't know. The last week I kind of have been, but yes, we're slightly red, but if we lose too much more on this one, we'll switch and just accept our red day. It's our first red day in 5 trading days, so I'm all right with not making money all the time. See somebody say, what was so bad about unemployment data to cause that drop? Nothing was really bad. You gotta understand, like, this range is very small after this big dip overnight. And so now we're just kind of ranging back and forth. I'm trying to find good levels, but it's been a little tougher this morning. So he's still 825, still holding really nicely though. Yeah, different symbols have different price per ticks, like profit up and down and all that stuff. Look at gold. So gold down to 3040s. We still got the SPY at 564s. Nvidia at 116s. Ten-year dropping. Is it really the yield? Yeah, I mean, the 10-year is going to follow the market down mostly. So, like, if the market decreases wildly, the 10-year yield's going to follow it usually. Not always, but usually. We got 8 minutes left. Chat, 8 minutes. Alright guys, so we're going to be day trading live today. Stick around. The boring part is almost over. All right, so we're taking it slow. Yeah, yields are still breaking down. We're under 4.2% now. We're at 4.17%. This is a lower interest rate sentiment, probably because of market weakness. Exit out of some of this stuff. We do have existing home sales data today. Not the biggest report, but we can watch it. All right, 6 minutes, chat. 6 minutes. We're at 19.8s here on the nasdaq. Might be a level, but again, we're gonna try to take it slow. I do have a combine account I can trade where if we get another 1,500 profit in profit today, we get funded. So we'll play with that right now. Thing is, I need to use the NQ, not the MNQ, and I haven't really documented some levels here. So let's draw some. Eights. There's 5. 25. 7, 5 seems like 1, 2, but and 25 is 1. 860. All right. Yeah, Yeah, there's 8s bouncing. Yeah, 8s is a big psychological level. Anything with a big round number can be psychological in nature with stuff like this. So anything with a big round number can make it more psychological. If the 10-year drops, what does that mean for the SPY? It usually means the SPY is dropping too. The SPY dropping indicates, even though they're not always the same animal, it increases recession fears, because typically the SPY, like in a recession like 2008, everything dropped. The market, the economy, so forth and so on. So yields dropping indicates a lower interest rate sentiment. But a lot of the time yields are going to fall as the market falls, if that makes sense. So they're all kind of correlated to a certain extent. Not in a big way always, but sometimes. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. We'll see if we get anything good. Yeah, we got 2 minutes left, about 2.5. I don't know if I want to target that 19.8 level or not, but we're looking at it. I found index much harder to trade. I can't watch multiple charts, Apple, Nvidia to trade on the micro NASDAQ. Yeah, I mean, I can. That's why, like, I like watching Nvidia, Apple, all this different stuff to see what goes on. I'm looking at like Meta here. Meta's still slightly red, not super red though. Google, AMD, Nvidia. What else? Amazon. Amazon just cracked lows. Look at that decrease here. We'll target 775. But we're also not going to attack anything a minute and a half before the opening bell. Yeah, I mean, whether you think it's time to invest is different. Everybody's kind of different there. So whether you think it's time to invest right now is a different story. I'm still looking at 775. The market could continue to correct down, right? So if that happens, that's not good, of course. All right, guys, we got 40 seconds left. 40 seconds. All right, chat. There's the opening bell. Let's see what we get. We get some red action here. Here's 775 that I wanted to buy, but I'm going to wait. It's too close to the opening bell to attack it. We need to wait a couple minutes first. Amazon breaking down, Meta breaking down, AMD popping up, Google breaking down, AMD at 105s, 106s, Nvidia at 117s. There's 750s, we'll look at that. A lot of these are just $quarter levels, except for 860. Again, these levels are a little different than what I had on the micro. AMD's bouncing back up. AMD's back up to 106s right now. So AMD's starting to come back after the opening bell. Nvidia bounced up a little bit, but it's starting to retrace back down here. Here's Nvidia on the bottom right here. Here's gold. Gold's still at 3040s. SPY breaking down to 560 since the open. So we are seeing redness. I gotta wait at least a couple. Jobs report was basically flat. It was neutral. It didn't really mean anything. AMD up to almost 106. All right, so look, here's a rebound. Nvidia bouncing back up. It's at 117.50s. Look at this rebound back up here. All right, we are 2 minutes into the open. Big rebound back up since then. I'm still looking at 825s, but this is a challenge account, so do not copy me here. We're gonna trade it a little bit different than we normally trade. And at this point in time, we're wrong. I'm definitely cutting that. So we got out flat somehow. Probably too early. Only 2 minutes since the opening bell. That volatility is kind of out there. We'll look at 860s above us now to see if we get some play from it. Hey, what's up, Blaze? How you doing, bro? Yeah, today's a little quiet though. We had big moves overnight. You're not missing too much, Blaze. It's all good, dude. Try to take this level. It's still a little early though, and again, this is a challenge account. There's a lot of green though, to be honest here. Yeah, I gotta cut that. Yeah, I don't know whether I should get out early. Again, this is a challenge account, so this is a demo. I'm gonna wait until the volatility plays out to switch to my live account. But man, Nvidia pumping up, Meta pumping up, AMD pumping up, Amazon pumping up, Google underperforming a little bit. I'm trading a challenge account, so this isn't my funded accounts. In my funded account, I'm on a 5-day green streak. I'm a little red on the day though, but yeah, on that account, we always trade micros. We're never gonna trade minis. This is a different account. I can take risk on this, and it's 50 bucks. It's not the end of the world. The most I'll lose here is $50. And again, just to put it into perspective, in this account, I'm already up 1,500 on the, in the last day. And so we got beat up a little bit at the open, but if we lose, the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter too much. I'm not going to trade against the momentum too, so I'll buy a dip. It needs to be down to 825s before we buy it though. There's that 200 EMA bounce. Yeah, if you want to hang out in our Discord, check out the link right there. It's in the chat right now. Yeah, a lot of strength. I don't want to short it, but I also need a large pullback to go long, and we might miss out on something here. It's too close to the open. We're 5.5 minutes in, but I gotta just wait. Amazon? Yeah, Amazon just retraced all the way back up. It's now at 195s. You think it's trying to get to the overnight highs? I don't know. We had a big dip overnight. I really don't know what we're doing here, to be honest. I don't know if I want to buy this 850 or not. I'm looking at it. Yeah, good ban pawn. Yeah, XRP won their lawsuit, or had their lawsuit dropped by the SEC. That's good. Do I want to buy this 850, 860 level? I don't think so. I want 825s, I think. You could also buy the 200 EMA at 850. I think that makes sense too, but I think that makes more sense recently here. But I want 825s. I'm being kind of stubborn with this. And the market might not even pull back that much. What's up, Tiny? Yes, we did bounce at 850s too. Yeah, not large enough of a pullback for me, but AMD up to 107s. If I'm shorting too much on chance, risky. Yeah. Did the job numbers come out? Yeah, so jobless claims numbers show up basically flat as expected. Does New York open at 8:30 now because of daylight savings? Yeah, so we got pushed back. We lost an hour, basically. It jumped forward. It's called spring forward. It always happens in May. There's nines. Mid next week and we pull back. I don't know. We dropped a lot overnight. So Eli, I'm trading the NASDAQ futures contract right here. So here's 875s. A lot of this depends on what NVIDIA does. NVIDIA's dragging the market up, so. So everything looks like it's about to push up. AMD at 107s. Meta. But I don't trust this either. I kind of want to short it, but I also don't want to get stuck shorting an upward trend. Yeah, I can't tell if they're hating on me or if they're praising me. I can't really tell, in all honesty. So I just kind of tune it out. All right, SPY up to 565s. Again, I'm kind of careful right now. I don't really like, the momentum's too strong, and I don't like buying pullbacks that are a little bit that are this extended. I think here's 19s, but I'm not gonna short this. Hey, how you doing? All right, guys. Amazon tapped this level. So we did reject right at 19.9s. Oh, yeah. I think you're actually right, Pawn. I think she's saying good things. So that's good. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's 19.9s. We're starting to slow after pushing up really for the last hour or so in markets. But this looks strong. It all depends on Nvidia though, I think. Yeah, I'm not shorting right now. I'm not gonna short against this trend. It's a little too strong for me here. Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm not going to short. I still like 75s. You could also, I'm looking at 9s, but I don't trust it as well. There's 25s. There's 9s right here. I don't trust it. I want 75s if we're going to attack a pullback. But again, I'm very, very cautious right now. I'm just looking at a short, but I don't think a short would make sense. It's too strong to short it, is what I mean. Somebody's asking me, somebody's telling me don't short, and I'm saying, yeah, it's too strong to short, is basically what I'm saying. I'm not going to attack the opposing trend. The extension might be there to a certain extent, but it's just not enough to jump in short. It's too strong. The momentum's too heavy. I'm just waiting. Yeah, I'm not. I'm waiting. Again, if we get a pullback to 875s, I might take that. Or if we get a pullback to 850s, I might take that. 9s might bounce too. Like 19.9 right here, we might bounce. But yeah, it's too short term to this high for me to want to jump in. So it's still a little bit too close to the level. I think pullbacks are healthy to a certain extent. We need a little bit larger pullback for me to be comfortable buying. But I gotta wait. Besh, didn't you say short at 870? Now you're trying to claim you were saying up. Hold on, let me look. I got the receipts here, guys. Like, I could look. I get it. Listen, I'm right about everything, apparently, but... Yeah, listen, 4 minutes ago at 8:44 a.m., let's look at where the market was. So right here, you told everybody to short literally here. And so, I mean, hey, you said, quote, you should go short like now. Right here. And so, I don't know, bro. And then after you said that, market did this. And maybe you're right. Maybe we do turn. I don't know. Again, I'm waiting. Hopefully I won't be stuck. Yeah, good luck, Besh. If you're not trying to brag, it's all good, bro. I'm wrong about everything. I'm definitely the top 3 most wrong person of all time ever in the world right now. So I mean, listen, that's what we're here for. I'll lose with you, bro. It's okay. I hope you make money though. I hope it turns, because honestly, I wouldn't mind buying it around 875 to be honest, but I need to kind of wait for it. And so it's all good, bro. It's all good. Yeah, no, it's all good to change your mind. That's for sure. As long as you're not toxic about it, it's all good. Meta's pushing up, breaking highs right now, though. Nvidia's heading back up, too. I definitely could be wrong. I don't know if I am, but I could be. It's possible in another universe I could be wrong one day. Most of the time I'm trolling you guys, man. Because if you get too like weird about it, people make fun of you for that too. And so you gotta just act like you're the greatest ever. You're never wrong. It's like if I was a rapper, you know, am I really gonna be like, hey, you know, I'm in the top 40% of rappers in the world right now? You know, no. You're gonna be like, I'm the greatest rapper of all time, like Lil Wayne, you know. AMD at 106.90s. Google at 165. Google's coming back up. It's really flat though. AMD at 107s. You're the best rapper alive. Yeah, I look at volume. Yeah, Juan. So honestly, I've got like 7 or 8 charts on a monitor that y'all don't see. Somebody said they don't even look at volume. I look at volume all day. Like volume is something that I almost always keep on my chart, especially in the NASDAQ, right? And you can kind of see like the NASDAQ volume is dwindling a little bit from the open, but that's typically normal. But yeah, I look at volume. Yeah. This rebound's a little bit too strong. I think we have to look at this level here, this 1940 level. So we're about to hit it. Let's see if we actually tap it or not. We got close enough, but I mean, you could trade right now. The market's honestly in a pretty nice upward trend. I just kind of missed it. I'm too sketched out to trade, but that doesn't mean it's too sketchy to trade. If I missed out on the move, it doesn't mean you guys have to miss out on it. Honestly, I think the market trend since the opening bell, in hindsight, of course, I'm going to put that context into it because it's hindsight. I honestly don't think the market trend's that bad right now. We've had a nice upward trend, a lot of good volume. But I just haven't really capitalized on it, and that's okay.
Well, volume is almost always going to be decreasing after the opening bell. You know, volume typically spikes at 8:30 at the opening bell and then decreases afterwards, because that's where we get the most consolidated volume of traders, is right at the opening bell at 9:30 market time, 8:30 Eastern or Central. But yeah, so it's always going to be mostly decreasing unless we have some catalyst coming out. We got existing home sales showing up in 5 minutes, but I don't think it's big. It's not really going to move things. There's that 900 level. All right. But yeah, there's 900s. Ugh, dude. I'm choking on my coffee. I know you're not a financial advisor, but do you think for long-term trades this would be a good time to buy? We are at lows right now. It depends on how long. Not an investment professional. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about, but I think long-term you're probably fine as long as you DCA. But it depends. Like, the market could certainly keep correcting to the downside. That's very possible, but it's also possible the market just rips back up. Nobody really knows here. It depends on what the data shows up as. Better, worse than expected. And yeah, nobody really knows. Everybody's gonna act like they know. They're gonna act like, you know, they're gonna act like they know, and I'm gonna act like I don't know. And so for me as a short bias trader this week, market is one. I would continue to trade at weak signs. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna cut this, guys. I'm not really seeing anything I like. I'm down. You know, not really a good day. My green streak, it looks like, is going to end today. I'm on a 5-day green streak. It looks like that's over today. As long as I don't trade anymore, which I'm kind of being careful and quiet. And so I'm probably just going to cut it. Yeah, one thing I don't know is that what the market's going to do long term. Market's going to go up. One thing I don't know is that what the market's going to do short term. Nobody really does, is what I meant to say. The Ukraine president asked the EU allies for at least $5 billion for artillery shells. Indexes pair some Fed strength amid Super Thursday and MU Nike earnings after hours. Do we have MU and Nike earnings today? Hold on, wait, do we? That might move markets. Let me see. We got PDD this morning. Yeah, we got MU and Nike earnings today. FedEx, Lennar, a couple other companies. I know that I know nothing. Right, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean, most of the time, like, the biggest statistical edge is long-term markets are going up, right? Like, long-term markets are going to go up regardless of what. You get all these bears that want to predict market crashes, and they romanticize Michael Burry and all this different stuff. But most of the time, markets are going to go up long-term. And dollar cost averaging into indexes long-term is usually going to make you money. Short-term, anything could freaking happen. Market might crash tomorrow. I'm definitely don't know if it does. But I'll be here to cover it for you guys. So again, hit that sub button, hit the notification bell. Tomorrow we got quad witching, triple witching is really what it is. If you want to check out one of my sponsors, again, check out Top Step. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Everything I say is entertainment only. But Top Step gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, They fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, it's $50K. In funding, if you can make $3K in profit without losing $2K first, it's only $49 to attempt this challenge. If you fail, it's not the end of the world. If you pass it, you get a 90% split. You get to keep your first $10K in profit. That's very similar to funding your own account. And they paid out almost $200 million in the last 4 years. They fund thousands of traders. It's just a great way to learn how to day trade with limited risk. Similar reward to funding your own account. But they're an affiliate of mine. I am biased because I get paid by them. If you want to check it out, here's the link. And yeah, I appreciate the love. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, more new home sales. So existing home sales did just drop. Let me throw this up on screen. They came in at 4.26 million for existing home sales, higher than the 3.95 million expected. There it is right there. So yeah, I'll cover it real quick, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all be good. Have a great day.